Oh, hello. Do you think that Big Brother is watching? Or that the Illuminati is planning to take over the world? Have you had an encounter with a space alien today? If the answer to those questions is yes, then grab your hat. This is tinfoil hat time. Welcome back to tinfoil hat time. Got my stylish hat on. We're going to have a look at some craziness going on in the world. Yes, we are going to take a look at this voicemail robocall issue and see what it's all about. All this craziness. Oh boy. Well, hello everybody. Let's see. Ryan, how is it going today? We have Daniel, Piggy Uniform. Great to see you back. I hope your vacation was doing well. Hello, La Shark. Okay, so Ryan, yes, you have your hat. All right, cool. Audio plays in intro, by the way. Yes, audio does play in the intro. Then the reason for that is the way I have it set up in OBS is it plays the intro video one time and then it sets to auto hide. So the sound will play over it and then it automatically transitions down to something else. It's just a way to set it up without having to fight with it too much. So that's kind of the way I have it set up. All right. Dan A. Greetings, Dan. I hope everybody has your stylish tinfoil hats on. You know what I should do? I should do a video on how to make a stylish tinfoil fedora. I should really do it. I mean, come on. We all talk about tinfoil hats, and all I've seen is those things in those Vade talk about tinfoil. But if I did that, everybody would be having a Switch to Linux tinfoil hat, and you couldn't tell who was who. Oh boy. So we are going to go ahead and dive on in here. And we are going to look at what's going on. So, of course, if you do not know what is going on, then apparently this has been going on longer than I was even aware of it. I first covered this, I want to say it was 2 weeks ago in my Friday night news. But then after that had happened, I had received 2 of these calls that they don't ring your phone. They go right to voicemail. And I have played them, but I'm going to play them both again because these are just like reminiscent of truth. Are we ready for these calls?
Hello, this is an urgent message regarding a document we currently have in our office. If you can please give us a call at 844-753-9392.
All right, everyone got that number? Everyone, spam it! And here's the other one. And that one there did match the caller ID. This one here may not match the caller ID. That's what people are saying, but let's see.
Will no longer qualify for student loan forgiveness after June 30th, 2017, so please call me back immediately. My number is 760-892-6686. That's 760-892-6686. We would love to lock you in the forgiveness program for your loans before it goes away. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
Oh, a blessed day. Wow. That did not match the number that had called me. Was an 818 number. So I assume the 818 number is probably just some random spoof number. But if you could go back and listen to that call, you know, what people were saying in there, everyone spam those numbers. Spam them so bad that we scare the spammers away. I should have put them up flashing on here. That'd be awesome. I actually had a project where a client was saying, you know, it's not as obvious to people where the card is. And so literally as a joke, I added the worst CSS styles to this thing ever, that you'd land on the page and then the cart would just sit there and flash bright red colors. And they're like, perfect! I'm like, oh God. I unleashed flashing text on the world. Web design demerit right there. Well, I received two such calls. The first one of them actually did ring the phone for about half of a second. I heard, "Nyeh," and then right to there. The other one just straight to voicemail. And we're going to look at this issue, what caused this issue, where did it come from. We're going to dig back as far as we can dig back. I see Lance jumped on. Hello, Lance. Piggy Uniform is still on vacation. Hey, we're glad you're here even though you're on vacation. I guess it is kind of summer. Ish, I guess. Sadly, I have no tinfoil hat. Bummer. Wearing the imaginary tinfoil hat. All right, if you can just put on your imaginary tinfoil hat, if nothing else, just go to the kitchen, grab some tinfoil, wrap it around your head, and then everyone's just going to go, what? How about sliding text? I should put sliding text on. That'd be fun. All right. So we are going to have a look at some things. The first thing we have to consider is this thing. Of course, my whole note page got messed up. There it is. Found my notes. The first thing we have to look at, and what is going on around all this thing, what is all this debate all about? Well, it boils down to a law that was passed in 1991, and it is called the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, or TCPA. Okay, so the TCPA was established because, of course, all sorts of people were jumping all over the place, and telephones have... By the late 90s, telephones were really, they were like post-knee. And in economics, we have this grid, and you look at an innovation stage, and the early adopter stage is like less than 10% of your market. And then you hit this growth phase where it merges up and it kind of exponentially grows until we call that basically the pre-knee phase. And then at that point in time, it progresses on until the mass adopter, at which point in time around 90 to 95% of people adopt the basic technology, and it floats along. In which case only the rare outliers don't have the technology. Well, around that time, around the mid-80s or so, really, everybody who was going to get a telephone got a telephone by that point in time. And believe it or not, there were still some people without them. And so what had happened is companies were like, hey, everyone has this telephone. Let's just start a new marketing thing. And so they just started mass spam marketing everybody on calling everybody and their brother on phones. And then right around that time is when the very first cell phones were hitting the market. Now, I got mine when they had just left the bag phase, and I think 97 is when I got my first cell phone. And they were just leaving the bag phase around then. But, prior to that, a cell phone was a giant, it was the size of a brick. And it about weighed that much. And the problem is even back then, my plan that I had my cell phone on was a good plan. I had 60 minutes a month. That is 1 hour in a whole month to use that cellular phone. Of course, your phone battery would last about 4 hours if you left the phone on, and it would last, about a good hour if you were just talking on it. And so we ran into a lot of those types of challenges. The phones were so early tech at that time, but they were still existent. That with pagers and everything else. And so these telemarketers, they wanted to call everybody. Well, the problem is back then, if you're paying, I was paying, I think, $20 a month. Was it 20? I think it was $20 a month, maybe more, but about $20 a month to have this cell phone, which had 1 hour on it. Well, if a telemarketer calls me, boom, there's one of my minutes. I only got 60 of these. So what happened is it caused this giant big thing, and then what happened is George H.W. signed into law the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, which put in a lot of restrictions as to what a person or a company could do. So, of course, you can go on, and I will have all of my articles here in the description as soon as we are done. But here is at Cornell Law School. You can look up any type of law that's out there. So this is actually the law for the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, and it's long. So obviously we're not going to look at all these, but it boils down into saying that a company may not utilize. Well, first you may not utilize an auto dialing system. So a auto dialing system is a system where you can pile in a bunch of numbers and the computer will just shoot off phone calls and then reconnect you to a person once a human has responded in positive kind. All right. So So then the next thing is that you could not a company could not use a robot, so it could not record a pre-recorded voice and send that out. So that was then restricted. All right, and then what you had going on is you had the fact that you could not call a cell phone, a guest room of a hospital, a healthcare facility, an elderly home, or similar establishment. Basically, any of those things, anything that costs money to receive a call, they could not call those numbers, which included cell phone numbers and things like that. Of course, this is the same act that began to establish what we have now as the do not call list. So basically what happens at the end of this law is it restricts the companies from abusively calling people where it would cause a potential financial loss. Now, the problem is most people join the do not call list not because of this, and the do not call list is different than the TCPA. There are two different things, but there is some close interlay in between them. And so with this being said, what we have to consider ourselves with is when the do not call list came on, everyone jumped onto this because we don't want the annoyance of some stupid company annoying us with their crap. And that's what it boils down to. So that is, in a nutshell, the ACPA, or the TCPA of 1991. So let's have a quick look at the comments over here. Oh, boy. The pinnacle of web design is flashing text. Hello, Camlash? Hello, how are you? Okay. I have the fedora, but no tinfoil. That is a bummer. Well, wear the fedora. Just pretend there's tinfoil up there. I've seen those cell phones. I had one of those cell phones. All these youngins out there. If you are familiar with the game Magic the Gathering, look up the card Old Fogey from the is Unhinged or Unglued, one of the Unseries. Very comical. You know, back in my day, people didn't have all these things. It's like a 7-7 trample cumulative, whatever. Anyway, enough geek speak. We got enough geek speak with Linux going on. We don't need to incorporate Magic cards. Let's see. I should make a fidget spinner. No, I'm not a huge fan of fidget spinners. Mostly because, let's see, most people only use them for views on YouTube. Really? Huh. You know, I'm kind of against fidget spinners because of the close association of fidget spinners with give these to your ADHD kids. And frankly, I think ADHD is one of them made up things to sell some drugs. Well, that's a personal opinion. Let's see. Hello, Anna Rita. How are you? To buy one just to say I have one. Actually, all the gas stations in my town seem to have them now. Sorry if was late washing the daycare kids' toys for tomorrow. All right. Well, I hope the kids are doing well, and as long as it's good to hear you're cleaning up after everything, that's awesome because it, keeps the infections down a little bit, All right, so moving on, now that we've covered what the Telephone Consumer Protection Act is, basically, and I covered this article, so I'm not sure I've showed you this particular one on the news, but there was one of them here I might have actually used on the news a few weeks ago. Basically, there's this company called All About the Message, and they want to be able to say that, well, sure, we won't robocall, but if we just auto-deliver a robotic message to somebody's voicemail, that shouldn't count as a robocall. Okay? And so they have petitioned the FCC, and here is their actual petition. They have petitioned the FCC to say, would you please make sure that it's not, so here's this company, All About the Message. So this company is Slimeballs. respectfully requests the FCC to declare that delivery of a voice message directly to a voicemail box does not constitute a call that is subject to the prohibitions of the use of an automatic telephone dialing system or an artificial pre-recorded voice set forth in Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Okay. Alternatively, it requests the Commission grant a waiver pursuant to Section 47 CFR, Section 1.3, with respect to any voicemail message delivered by AATM or on behalf of AATM customer to any recipient. That sounds like an interesting, odd little request. Oh, that's right, because they're getting sued for that. And they want the FCC to say, not only is this okay, but I want you to retroactively say it's okay because we broke the law in auto-robo delivering a message to a minor's cell phone, and we want you to push that under the rug for us. No, FCC, find them into oblivion! I'm going to have to go on fire. Find these people into oblivion. They've broken the law. Find them into oblivion. Send $1,000 to, actually it's $500 to the person filing the lawsuit, which is the personal statute set forth in the TCPA, and charge that company $10,000 every day they've been doing this, up to $1 million, because that's also what's already written in the law. This is a company that broke the law. What's the recourse? We're going to file a petition so that we want you to retroactively change the law so that we can't be sued for the things that we've already done. No, sue them into oblivion and throw the directors in jail. That's how you're going to clean up the stupidity in this corporate America. Okay, I am for capitalism, but if you go back and read Adam Smith's documentation on capitalism, there is a fundamental component that is missing in American society. That is called morality. And morality does not break the law to auto-robo deliver messages to a 15-year-old cell phone. I should have gone on fire for that. But yeah, that's what they want to do. They're using this new technology to auto-deliver calls. So, of course, here's all the background, the technology. We're not going to go through all that. Of course, here's your... this is actually not the documentation of the lawsuit. This is the lawyers that are seeking the charges on this. Basically saying, no, we do not want you to, writing in opposition to the petition filed by All About the Message, which seeks declaratory ruling that ringless voicemails are exempt from the requirements of the TCPA. Okay, represent Tom Mahoney in a lawsuit regarding the so-called ringless voicemails. In the lawsuit style, Tom Mahoney individually on behalf of his class. It appears to be a catalyst for the petition filed by AALM. So, in other words, yes, we were sued, so we're going to file the a petition with the FCC to retroactively make our illegal activities, which is very clearly set out in the law, make those legal. I've worked with Randall and Snyder to help prepare the expert testimony for the litigation. Mr. Steinfeld, a copy of expert testimony with the FCC, and I join in his support and his comments. Additionally, Mr. Mahoney is filing comments with the Commission, and I will join in and support his comments as well. I believe the Commission should deny both the petition and the request for the retroactive waiver. Guys, like this, okay, civil disobedience says that you follow the law until such time you can get it changed. If you're going to engage in civil disobedience, you need to follow the law until such time you can get it changed. You don't break the law and then, whoops, we were caught. Now we're going to file the petition to retroactively change it. And here's the next thing. This should just prosecute them, fine them, bill them, charge them. And then we can decide in the future what we want to do with this. That is the thing that we want to look at. All right, so... let's see. I believe the Commission should deny the petition in order for us to continue enforcement of TCPA. It is imperative that ringless voicemails are not given a stamp of approval by the Commission. If the Commission approves the petition to abuse suffered the abuse suffered by consumers will be unlimited. Okay, like it is already illegal to send a robocall to this phone, and I have gotten 2 of them in the last week. If they make that legal, I'm going to wake up one day and there will be 100 robocalls sitting in my voicemail box. Type of complaints will be generated from consumers are illustrated by the documents and Exhibits 1, Exhibits 2. Of course, here is our Exhibit 1. Sure, these look like Google results. I'm not quite sure. Why are you calling my minor daughter's cell phone and leaving recorded advertisement messages? TCPA forbids calling a cell phone with an automated message. When I call you on the phone to complain, you hung up on me twice. Okay, and then of course here is a listing from, there's actually websites, I showed you those in an earlier video, where you can actually go and look up a phone number and see who's calling from it. And of course, this is, I'm not sure what this is a review from, but it is something to deal with the telemarketers. So basically, this is this company all about the message. They broke the law. Now they're seeking people to say, oh, we don't want that, we don't want any of that. So, retroactively change the law so we can't be fined and prosecuted and be taken, save us from the class action lawsuit because we've broken the clearly established law. No. Prosecute them, fine them, throw them in jail, and then we'll examine if the law runs merit. Wow. Okay, let's see. Most people only use them for YouTube. Okay. A robocall is a robocall, no matter how the message is delivered. That is correct. If you heard this, one of these sounds like a human being talking. One of these is clearly a robocall. So here we have a robocall auto-delivered a message to my cell phone. Every bit of that, which is illegal. 500 DPS of sound. Sad thing is I'm wearing headphones. Sorry. Yeah, you gotta count on me going on fire at least once. I should have gone on fire. I should have lit myself up. Asia Pie will put this in a lot because he's really good with taking money from companies. Yeah, this is an interesting one as far as Asia Pie is concerned because he hasn't commented on it yet. In fact, this is funny. The comment time is already closed. He hasn't commented on anything about it. But in the past, he's been critical of robocalls. So it's really interesting to see what's going to happen. Because if he comes down and says, we're denying this petition, guess who he puts himself at odds with? The Republicans. He puts himself at odds with the Republicans if he goes against this. So basically, when this petition came out, the Republican National, was it RNC? Who's the RNC? Republican National Convention or whoever they are. They came out in support of this and said, this is good. We need this because, of course, we're going to stifle innovation if we don't let this happen. Here we go. By the way, I didn't switch my stream over. Stream is lit. Yeah, all right. So here, I should have moved some things in different orders. So here the Senate's, the Republicans are coming down. The issue centers on the Ringless voicemails. So basically, part of this is that not even the political parties right now, they can't use robocalls. They can have... That what they are allowed to do is they are allowed to go around the do not call list, and they are allowed to have their campaign people, find a list of phone numbers, and they can randomly call all the list of phone numbers. So long as it is a human being sitting at a phone dialing the numbers, they're allowed to do that and garner support. Can you imagine what's going to happen in this country, whether Republican or Democratic? Now, the Democrats haven't said a iota of anything about this yet. I think they're just kind of waiting and sitting back and going, yeah, this is something that's making a lot of people mad. We have Asia Pie's kind of on the fence because on the one hand, he really wants to take that money from the company. I mean, that'd make another good yacht payment or something. I don't know. And then on the, but on the other hand, if he comes down and says, I want to, he kind of wants to side on this, but then he's got to flip-flop again with his earlier statement going, I don't like robocalls. And so he's going to twist this all around in some way to make this not be a robocall, I'm sure. But I think he's kind of hanging out. The Republicans are saying, we want this. And it's just like becoming this giant, we don't know what's going on. There's pending litigation surrounding this. There's all sorts of crazy stuff going around this. And the Republicans come down and they give us a fun statement. Was it? I thought it was on this one. Was it on this one? Maybe it was on this one. Okay, so here, the Republican organizations like the RNC use all manner of communications to discuss political and government issues and to solicit donations, including direct to voicemail messages, the RNC told the FCC. So the RNC's already using potentially illegal technology. That's good to know. The commission should tread carefully so as to not burden constitutionally protected political speech without a compelling interest. Begs a question. What's the First Amendment of the Constitution? Everyone keeps on talking about going in like the Constitution, constitutional rights, Constitution. Most people haven't read the Constitution. You should, unless, if you don't live here, whatever. The funny thing is, the legal immigrants know a whole lot more about the Constitution than the Americans do, because they had to memorize a lot of it to gain citizenship. Us Americans, we just had to have drunk parents. Woo! Article 1, First Amendment, freedom of expression and religion. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, the unabridging freedom of speech or the press, or the right of people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for the redress of grievances. Intriguing. Now, where we have to get interpretive again is to understand who qualifies under the First Amendment. If you remember back to the beginning of the Constitution, and you look at the basic context, the Constitution itself is around the people of the United States. The Constitution is about protection of the people. Protecting people primarily from the government. Now, as we move towards this corporatocracy, which of course a corporatocracy is when the flow of the government is directed by the business interest, what tends to happen is we start getting this regression where the Constitution now doesn't just apply to people, it applies to companies. All right, so here's what's going on. If you go back and look at, particularly of interest is media laws, movies, music, games really hasn't been thrown in front of all this on the free speech nearly as much. But if you go back and look at the tracing things through history, there was a time when it was illegal to have certain types of video online. Then there's this weird thing that happened. Almost every state had laws against gambling, except guess which one? Nevada. Well, in Nevada, the what ended up happening is a famous boxing match ensued in, I'm forgetting my exact dates. It's like 1890 something, okay? Like 1892, 1897. Right at that juncture of the universe, Thomas Edison, the creator of the video recorder, or the film projector, recorded the boxing match. Now we had the ability to take a prize fight from one state and at a later date show it in another state. Right around that time, all sorts of laws started coming out on a state-by-state level, restricting not only the prize fight itself, i.e. the boxing match, but the exhibition of the prize fight itself. And early on, the television studios sued because what they were saying is, we now have to go in and challenge this in every one of these states. And they said, this is free speech. And the Supreme Court weighed in, and it was like the 30s at this point in time, and said a corporation does not have the same constitutional rights as a person has. Translation, it doesn't matter what the company does. The Constitution and the amendments therein to the Constitution are only applicable to this kitty. Oh, wait, hold on. That's not what they said. The Constitution was only applicable to people, to individuals, not to corporate entities. Well, fast forward many, many years of things, and it didn't end up being until the 60s and the 70s when corporations started to pick up the rights of the Constitution. But here's the problem. They don't have the responsibility. A corporation can have all of the rights of the Constitution, but they have none of the responsibility, because you cannot prosecute a corporation like you can prosecute an individual. All right? So, translation. At what point in time does free speech start or stop? And the classic example that's always thrown out is fire. You have freedom of speech in this country, in America. But I cannot utilize that free speech and in the middle of a movie scream, fire! Oh, I went on fire. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. All right. So you can't get into the Constitution. You can't get to the point where like when personal safety becomes the end, I can't get in and get into a crowded theater and yell fire. I can't do that. It is against the law. And it doesn't matter. I do not have the freedom of speech in that scenario. Well, what we have systematically done to the companies starting around the 70s is we have given them the ability to yell fire without the responsibility of being able to hold them accountable to that. And that's what's going on, is all sorts of people are screaming fire, and there is no legal recourse to prosecute for it. That is the challenge. That is the heart of this. That's what's going on. So the Republicans say, be careful about this free speech. It shouldn't apply to the companies anyway. Free speech applies to the individual, as does this. What they're trying to say is, us delivering the political comments directly to somebody's voicemail box is free speech. No, it is not. The Constitution protects an individual, not a corporation. Hate ad service websites. Hottest game in video game market. Must be 18 to play this game. Yep. Gonna make it great by allowing this to go through, as well as removing net neutrality as a bonus. Yay! No regulation anywhere. Talk about the Wild West. That's what we're gonna get. Only in the Wild West that we're gonna get, the digital Wild West we're gonna get, whoever's got the money to have the biggest bullets is gonna be the guy that wins. Save net neutrality. Amen to that. Okay, drunk parents, the best kind of constitutional expert. I heard you bleep one. I thought this was family friendly. Did I bleep something? Did I? I'll have to go back through. I didn't recognize I bleeped the bad word. Did I? Did I? Oh no. Sorry. Greetings, Ian. Greetings, Fidel. Oh, Ivan, I'm sorry. I don't know why I missed that V in there. Should be accidental click services. I went on fire. I was going to the police station. Oh, yeah. Canada's becoming too horrible with the free speech that I'm afraid to open my mouth, but no, not that I... But no, I will not have a big mouth, so deal with it. Yeah, you know. I'll have to check the context. I don't remember that. Huh. I'll check that. Thanks. All right. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and have a look back at the... Yeah, that stuff kind of gets me hot there. So the Constitution, of course, this protects the people, not the companies. Well, I mean, it's supposed to. Not really. Of course, the Republicans are... This is kind of like their weighted threat. So Asia Pie really hates robocalls. We got him on record saying that. But if he... Yeah. So, of course, in response to Republicans coming out and saying, yeah, we support this, this is free speech. These people are just shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, this is crazy. So, of course, in response to all this, a group of attorney generals got together and like, this is bad, people. Okay? So talking about the ringless phone calls, New York, Massachusetts, Kentucky, there's other ones that have joined on since then. But they have a joint letter. Of course, the Attorney General for New York says New Yorkers already are the victims of countless unwanted phone solicitations. The federal government has the basic responsibilities to protect American consumers. That certainly doesn't mean making it even safer for companies to spam them with costly, unsolicited, and ringless phone calls. How late are you, Lamar? You are 37 minutes and 54 seconds by the time that I see that. Massachusetts residents already face constant barrage of harassing, intrusive, and unwanted robocalls. Quote, granting the companies a free pass to push ringless messages to the consumers' phones just adds more robocalls and causes significant financial harm to those who are charged for checking their messages. And believe it or not, a lot of people are. Almost everybody in my neighborhood who has a cell phone, they are charged minutely. Protecting Kentuckians from the constant barrage of unwanted scam and robocalls is an ongoing priority in my office. We must strengthen the protections for our citizens, not clear ways for costly and unwanted calls. Okay, the purpose of the TCPA enacted by Congress in 1991 is to protect consumers from unwanted and intrusive calls. The FCC's Robocall Strike Force reports that robocalls are the #1 source of complaints it receives, with consumers receiving an estimated 2.4 billion robocalls per month. Okay, this is something that is already illegal, and you want to, these aren't robocalls, they're just going right to the voicemail. In fact, if I can find it in this documentation somewhere, I just can't remember where it is, but somewhere in here somewhere, they literally make the argument. I think this article might quote it. Okay, yeah, here it is. Here's a quote. Here's a quote from the AATM. This is the Attorney General's quoting. Basically, the AATM is saying that if a person comes in and says, what am I trying to say here? AATM says that auto-delivering a call directly to the voicemail does not constitute a robocall because they're not inconvenienced. It's their choice if they check the message or not. It's a very simple question. Legally, is the intention of dropping the voicemail so it is checked? Well, then how does that not constitute it? Now, I don't have to pay extra to check my voicemail, but a whole lot of people do. And that's kind of one of those fascinating things. So the attorney generals respond to this and say, shifting blame for the final delivery of the robocall message onto the consumer because the consumer actually checks their voicemail message does not make the call permissible under TCPA. Consumers receiving ringless voicemail messages should understand that they have received a robocall, and so should the commissioner. Because I got news for you. When that one came in, which was in the middle of the afternoon, I'm over here working at my desk. I'm sitting here working away. Blah, 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 blah. I'm a worker. All of a sudden, bling, I get a sound from a voicemail. The phone never rang. Guess what the first thing I did was? Pick it up, check the voicemail. Then I got the unmistakable urge to throw the phone across the room. Then I realized, it's not my phone's fault. It's some idiot's fault. So everybody spam their calls. Spam them so hard with calls that they got to shut down. We all need to call them up 5 minutes after each other, all pretending to be the village idiot. Please. And eventually they'll be like, this isn't working. We got to shut the number down. That's how we stop. If any kids are watching, if Tom said a no word, just so you know, adults make mistakes too. Probably the only kid here. Yeah, I don't know. Hey Linux has been catching him every now and again too. I don't know if he's on or not. I haven't seen anything. He's pretty young too, and it's really late where he is. So I don't know if that's the case. The law about misgendering people. If your child wants to change his gender and you say no, the parents are stripped of custody of that child. Yeah. You know, up in Seattle, I believe, they have now instituted the non-binary gender. So if you really want to hoot someday, go check out the Vices program. You can find it on YouTube. The Vices video on the unicorn people over in London. Excuse me. I need to go hit my head against something really hard now. Yes, you know, it's one thing to say, I was born with one body part, but I really think I was supposed to be born with another. It's one thing to say that, and it's a whole entirely different thing to say, I really am a unicorn. Yeah. Yeah, state custody, that never goes badly. According to law, it's child abuse to misgender a minor. I think it's child abuse to try and tell a minor that he's a different gender than he actually is. I mean, we're not assigned a gender at birth, people. Do not get me started on misgender, because the last time I checked, there were 2. Yep. I have 5 robocalls on my flip phone next to me. Oh boy. To clarify, I live in Massachusetts. Yeah, Massachusetts has some crazy laws. If I remember, that was the place where the state took custody of a child at the testimony of a psychopathic doctor, even though 5 other mainstream doctors said he's crazy. I thought that was Massachusetts. Flip phones, they still make those. Yes, they do. Unicorn people, yep. Applied to Ontario only. Hello, Demiana. Is that more than 2 gender still a thing? Yes, now it is specifically called non-binary gender, of course. That's what it's called. Bill C-13 applies to all of Canada. Watch Dr. Jordan Estron's video about it. Oh boy. Is pizza gender? Yes. As long as you are in Canada or Seattle, then yes, you can declare that you are a pizza god. You were born a pizza god. Yep. Yeah. All right. So, let's see here. We looked at the attorney generals. Yeah, states to push FCC for not allowing voice. So this is more comments from these guys. And then the last thing, it's like, it's not only just the Republicans coming down, but the Chamber of Commerce also supported. So 2 big groups, the Republican National Convention, or RNC, whoever they are, whatever that stands for, I don't know. I officially, if you didn't watch the video, I forget exactly when I did it, but, you know, for a long time, I didn't necessarily fully agree with the Republican Party thing, but I maintain being registered Republican mostly because it's just too lazy to change. But in response to it was a law Trump signed in. I think it was when the day that Trump signed in the law to allow ISPs to, you know, pretty much steal all our information. That's when I officially changed my party affiliation to independent. But the RNC. The RNC came down and they said, you know, they supported this. The Chamber of Commerce also, shocking that the Chamber of Commerce would be like, no, we want, like, this is so bad. You know, like, Yeah, the Chamber of Commerce. Of course, the Chamber of Commerce wants this so that everybody and their brother's like, yeah, we can't call with a robocall, but we can deliver a robocall directly into somebody's voicemail. In the very day that happens, I'm going to wake up and this phone's going to have 100 messages on it. At that point in time, I will either A, dump the phone, or B, dump the email or the voicemail mailbox. Like, you know what? If I'm going to get nothing but spammy crap in my voicemail, I just won't have an voicemail address. You call me, I'll call you back if I know your number. You know, that's the bottom line. So it's going to get to the point where I may lose contact with some people over all that stuff because that's just not what we need to focus on. We need to focus on what is best for the consumer. And what's best for me as a consumer is to not wake up every day and have 100 messages on this stupid phone because that is going to waste my time. I do not need to wake up and go, 100 messages in your voicemail box. Please call 1-800. Screw you. Please call 1-800. Yeah, I'm going to try and keep this family friendly. All right. Please call 1-800. Please call 1-800. We have a document in our office. No, I did not throw the phone. Guys, this is going to be damaging to my time, to my business, to everything. And every one of these stupid companies who would want to send me such a thing, you guys can go to hell. I will never be buying from you. Of course, the Chamber of Commerce, they've wanted to do away with this bill for a long time. They were just looking for somebody to come down here and change this. Because have a look at this little article. January 2016. Oh, let me bump up the text so we can read it a little bit better. One more up. There we go. All right. All right. So what happened in 1991, the year the TCPA was... Okay. I pulled this article out because if you would like to take a course on logical fallacies and spotting the idiocy in the world around us, this is the article to read as far as this stuff is concerned. First, they're going to make a post hoc argument. Post hoc propter ergo hoc is a Latin phrase meaning after this, therefore because of this. Watch as I read this article. We'll read this whole article. Watch as I read this article. All of these old things were technologies from 1991. Therefore, the TCPA is out of date and needs changed. They're going to make some slippery slopes. They're going to make some emotional appeals. I almost think every logical fallacy is in this article. Disclaimer, I was actually thinking about doing a tinfoil hat time today about spotting logical fallacies, and then this shows up. Maybe I'll still do it sometime. Just how to read an article critically and look for the fallacies. Because I finished that book. I was reading that psychopathic, crazy, quasi-Christian book this week. And it was just like, I wanted to vomit when I was done. In fact, by the last chapter, I'm like, okay, it was bad up until the last chapter. Then it's just flat out heretical. So only a few weeks in the 2016, and the year has been a fast ride. The stock market has plunged. The campaign trail rhetoric is now blazing hot. With the presidential primary season only a few weeks away, there have been several high-profile celebrity deaths. By the way, this was a year ago. Okay. And nearly a third of the country's population has been blasted by the record-breaking Snowzilla. Snowstorm in 2016 also marks another milestone, the 25th anniversary of the TCPA. What's that? Never heard of the TCPA? The law was originally designed to alleviate telemarketing during dinner and junk faxes. It gave individuals the right to bring lawsuits and small claim courts for violations. 2007, only 4 cases were brought under TCPA, and in 2015, 3,710 cases were filed. That's a 45 increase from the year before. Maybe that's because these guys are getting out of control. Why is the blue immune in cases because these idiots are getting out of control and they keep breaking the law. This isn't hard to spot. And then, of course, they petitioned the FCC to retroactively change the rules so they can't be sued for breaking the law. While there may be several reasons, most likely a combination of two: opportunistic plaintiff lawyers and the fundamental change in technology. Funny. You know that a lawyer is not allowed to represent you in small claims court? I think that we have a problem, don't we? Yeah. Now, check for your individual state, but in my state and almost every state that I know of, you may not have a lawyer represent you in a small claims court case. And that's exactly what we're talking about, right? What is this? The law that originally designed to alleviate telemarketing during calls, it gave individuals the right to bring lawsuits in small claims court. Opportunistic plaintiff lawyers, those evil bottom-sucking slimes. Would you call 1,000 lawyers chained together at the bottom of the ocean a good start? No, you cannot bring a lawyer into a small claims court with you in most places. Not all, but most places. This is a fundamental change in technology. No, I think it's a fundamental decline of morality, if you ask me. Back in 1991, the first website was created. Cell phones were as big as bricks and as weighed as much as a dumbbell. There were no smartphones, text messages, or other types of technology we take for granted today. Correct. Now that we have all these great forms of communication, let's annoy the bejeebers out of everybody. On all of them simultaneously. So I'll get to the point where my cell phone's just going to have to sit there going, beep, bloop, bloop, ring, new voicemail, new text, blah, 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 ring, ring, ring. Hello, would you like that? Please, somebody give me some Prozac. I'm going crazy. I don't even remember where I left off. Contrast our changed world with that which has not changed, and you'll have your answer. And what hasn't changed is the TCPA itself. An act has not been altered since it was passed in 1991. Yeah, a lot of laws actually really aren't altered. Like, we're still amending laws from, like, the 30s. You know? Los Angeles Lakers sent a response thank you text to their fans at the Staples Center, who responded to an in-game promotion by voting for their favorite song via text. For that, the Lakers were sued for $10 million in the TCPA. Yes, because they broke the law. Just because you have accumulated somebody's email address or their text or their phone address or any other means of communication does not grant you wholesale use to use that for any reason you want. We have laws. Stop breaking them. Stop breaking the law and then wondering why you get sued. Guess what? Lots of people sued you. Guess why? They were mad at you. My neighbor's really going to think I've gone off a rocker. And, okay, like, guys, just because you find somebody's email address, their phone number, you know they're texting, you know, whatever, that does not give you the full right to spam it. In 2016, a phone call is equal to a text. No, it's not. I use phone calls for communicating a lot of information. I use texts to say, on the way, or actually OTW, but you know. Send a text to 5 people and you might just have committed 5 violations of the TCPA. Yeah, if you're a business and you're trying to spam out promotional materials, yes you are. And you should be paying the $500 to $1,500 fine for your violation of federal law. Multiply that by tens of thousands of texts sent from businesses to their customers in an opportunistic trial bar. You'll see why TCPA... Would you stop playing with stuff? The cat's back there playing with things behind my back. You see, here's the thing. If I've purchased something from you, and you send me a update to what I bought, that's not a violation of the law. This is is this a slippery slope? I forget which this one is. This is a logical fallacy. I forget which one it is. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, when you are communicating with something specifically regarding a product that they bought from you, that is not a violation of the law. The reason the Lakers were sued, and the reason they're talking about this potentially committing five different violations of this, is because you have collected somebody's phone number using one model and then you're spamming it to send promotional stuff with another. That is the exact reason the TCPA was established. Get over it, Chamber of Commerce. We don't want your marketing crap 24/7. And if you get behind this, anybody's allowed to bypass this and drop stuff in my mailbox. That means everybody and their brother is going to be leaving me a message at all times. And everybody who finds this phone number any nebulous place is going to drop messages in me constantly. Oh, other things that happened in 91. The Soviet Union dissolved. Beauty and the Beast. The Silence of the Lambs and the Addams Family. Terminator and... Yeah, whatever, all released. Yeah. Yeah, this is what I feel like. Ooh, cost of postage went up to 29 cents. The Full House theme song... Clarence Thomas. Ooh, federal debt totaled 3,000. Okay, 3.5 trillion, people. Come on. 3,598 billion is not a number. Math much? World Wide Web was launched to the public. You choose the sun to declare that? Okay, never mind. We're done. Jeez. Oh, boy. You can tell I'm a little mad about this subject, can't you? Oh, boy. Linux channel talking about genders. How terrific. Excuse my French. Is that a law that actually passed in courts with actual lawyers? Are you talking about the one up there in Canada? I think so, but someone from Canada might know more than I do. Identify as an attack helicopter. Check your vehicular privilege, you bigots. Nice. So we talk about Linux and everything else in between, so deal with it. Yep. Amen. I'm sexually identified as a giraffe zebra. Can we abbreviate that a little bit better? Can we say like a giraffe or bria or something like that? I don't know. It must be part female, though. It ends in a bra. I don't know. President Trump has only been in office 4 months, and he's the best president ever, just so you know. So far, the earthworm. What gender it defined under the law? I don't know, but I'm sure there's a multi-million-dollar study to examine that. 1-800-FU. I can practically visualize Tom's head exploding. Yes, so can I. I can feel my head exploding. My hosting company disabled my account today when I said I had 1 week to pay the money yesterday. The hosting company is going to be off the list of good hosting providers. Who's the hosting company, if you don't mind saying? Curious to know. I just walked in the room and saw this. Yes, I was burning in fire when you walked in the room. So I must go through 100 messages to find out one important message. Pretty much, yeah. And for me, I don't get enough voicemails to really make it relevant, so I just turn the voicemail off. No, done. Hell would contain 3 people. Faulty advertising, faulty advertisers doing faulty advertising, and faulty advertisers using faulty services to advertise faulty things. Yep. Why did you read the book if you did not like it? Just wondering. Because one of the things that I do in Christianity, I don't talk, believe it or not, although I throw in enough Christian stuff here, I don't talk Christian stuff quite as much on this channel. But a lot of people have looked at me to look at discerning cultural things. One of the fun gifts that I have is the ability to delineate the crazy things in culture and know how it relates. That and the fact that this book has become the largest church craze of this, I guess this half a decade or something. Lots and lots of churches are going through this program. And so I felt compelled to read the book because, it's out there. And it was a scary thing. Because also it's like I didn't feel quite right about this program that so many churches around me were going through. But I did not want to make a judgment against it without really understanding their material. So that's what I did. Which is not too uncommon for me. Some of my biggest commenting posts and articles and things have been on the things that some people really like. Let's see. Perfect example is Air Transit falsely advertising their flights as non-stop regular prices. How about hoverboards advertising their hoverboards? That's a good one. You are the 100th visitor for this website. Finish the survey for $1 million in an iPad 583. Really? So how many of us? Tell us which website. And let's see how many of us are the 1,000th visitor. I bet all of us are the 100,000th visitor. The internet is a dangerous world. The government that used the internet to say this. Fire. Okay, then Bigfoot is here. I come. That is it, Bigfoot, here I come. Oh, laws coming out the wazoo. Yes, and I actually read them, which is kind of scary. Soon, Tom, you will just have the men in white take you to Area 51. Probably. The last job that I did, I'm probably on the NSA watch list and or the no-fly list. Just because it's like they had us basically doing sales calls to college professors, most of which probably have interesting ties to other countries. Hi, I'm a spammer. I spamily a lot. Spam, more spamming. Stop spamming, Piggy. Okay, a school account. Oh boy. You're not mad, just passionate. I'm a little both. Use my product and I'll stop spamming, please. If all million of you just pay me two pennies. Well, hosting is called eHost. Yes, eHost. They suck. I think I've had the mispleasure of using them once. The cool thing about being a web developer that has been doing this for 10 years, I don't think you can mention a web hosting company I have not used. And most of the ones that I quote haven't are actually all just subsidiaries of bigger ones or people who run hosting reseller accounts. I'm pretty good at spotting them. Oh, boy. What is this behind me? What is what behind me? I have Roger the Space Alien. He's behind me. Oh, boy. So what do we do about all this stuff? Honestly, I don't know. I try and have a lot of solutions when I do tinfoil hat times. I don't got a lot of solutions right now. I mean, we can sit here and talk about all sorts of craziness, and it's like I could say, contact your, is DreamHost good? No. To look for a good host, you want to look up the company EIG, Endurance International Group. Now, actually, you want to look up the company that talks about Endurance International Group, because Endurance International Group does not actually, they buy hosting companies left and right. They do not actually advertise which companies they own. They keep all the branding the same, but anything owned by EIG, you run from. Getting weird noises over there. It sounds like the cat's coughing up a hairball. So, as far as this stuff is concerned, though, Oh, hosting company, like what hosting company would I say? I've been pointing some people to SiteGround lately. They're okay. What I like about them is they easily support the free Let's Encrypt SSL, which is not good for doing online payment stuff, but it will help your SEO ranking in this day and age that wants SSL for SEO ranking. So they're decent. I'm looking at moving my host to A2 hosting probably. Just because my hosting company was bought out by EIG, and predictably, the quality went to hell. That's what I'd recommend as far as hosting. And believe it or not, I hate saying this is scary, but GoDaddy has actually turned somewhat good. They're not as horrible as they were, but somewhat good. So with that being said, what can we do about all this stuff? I think the best thing to do is leave comments, talk to representatives, make a big deal about it, spread the word on about all this kind of stuff. Maybe the TCPA does need some updating to address new technology, but the updating to address new technology is not to say, hey, we have 15 ways to communicate now instead of just 2. So let's just say that everyone can contact us any way they want. No, that goes against the spirit of the TCPA, and the TCPA was put in place because people were pissed off about what the companies were doing. And so with all of that being said, we need to clarify the TCPA, and we need to come down and say, no, a company may not call a phone, drop things automatically in voicemails, send you a text. A company cannot do all that stuff without going back to express written consent. Not check a little box on a little form that you didn't even see. In fact, I even know of one company that hides the opt-in forms, which is actually against the law, and I told them about it once. They didn't care. But you go in and they do petitions, and you put in your name, you put in your email, and you send it. Well, there's another check mark which is required by the law. Would you like to opt in to receive promotional messages? They have a script in their customized CSS to hide that form box, so it always remains checked, which is against the law. They could get called out on it. But with that being said, the best things that we can do is maybe we do need to talk about coming to a middle ground and say, okay, let's update TCPA. Yes, we want to maintain complete full written consent, not I've checked the checkbox, but full written consent that you can text me, you can call me, you can email me, whatever. And I think we should expand it to include more about email, because marketing companies themselves, this is about marketing companies. It's not just about phone companies, it's about marketing companies. And we need to have one unified law to address all elements that a marketing company tries to reach us. Because I think as a consumer in this modern day world, I should have the right to say no to all of this crazy marketing. Okay, if I want to watch something online and I get to watch a pre-roll ad, fine. But it should be a pre-roll ad probably related to something I'm watching. No problems with that. That's what companies used to do. If they are talking about selling homes and realtors, they would want to prioritize the magazines that talked about homes. Why? Because people who buy magazines that talk about homes are probably people who would be your biggest customers. That makes the most sense. But what we're doing now with online marketing is we're trying to build an individual profile of an individual person and giving them an ad we think they want to see, not an ad that's relevant to the content. And that's damaging to us as a society. But then the next thing that goes on is we have to address the fact of all of the other factors. What can a company do to get our attention? And I want the ability, I would love to see the entire law set up as an exclusively opt-in system, because I never want your mailings, your emails, your phone calls, nothing. In fact, I have a general policy around here. If you call me to sell me a service, I will never do business with you. And I'm not alone in that. In fact, I'll tell you, this is a funny story. I got a call on my business phone the other day. I get a lot of spam on my personal phone. I think it was linked to a hack that happened a few years back because some stupid college that chose not to hire me kept all my records on file and hackers stole it. So I get that, but I don't get spam calls on my business cell phone. But my business phone rings the other day, and it's a local number, so I pick it up, and I'm in the chamber, so it's not too uncommon for people for people to call me, and I generally inform them that if you cold call me on my phone, no, if you want to do business with me, find me at one of the business events, come over, introduce yourself, and talk to me. I will gladly talk to you. We'll exchange business cards, and if I think you have something worthwhile talking about, I will invite you to call me. But to say, here is my Chamber of Commerce directory. Now I'm going to add this to my contact list, add this to my email list, and spam the hell out of all these people. No, stop it. You are an idiot. Stop it. That is not what people respond to in this day and age. We are in the age of the internet. You want to sell services? Have a good website that's easy to find, and when I'm needing your service, I will type it into an internet search engine, and if you show up in my town, whoa, I'll call you. Isn't that great? Like, I don't cold call anybody for my web design business. I go to where people are looking for web designers. Shocking. Okay. Now, so this guy calls up. This is a lady. It's from like the local newspaper. Well, we have this new education program, and it's to open up and give students in the K through 12 school access to the news articles. You're the newspaper. Yeah. Why don't you give them access? You want me to pay you $50 so you can give access of your content to the local school? And what do I get? I get my logo on the website portal for the school? No, I'm not paying $50 a month to have you give the school access to your paywalled content to put my logo in front of a bunch of people who don't buy websites. That's stupid. That's called bad business. So she decided to try and change my opinion. You can imagine what that went like. And it was a very fun argument. I said, you know what? I'm an open source guy. I think that if you want to lock an article behind a paywall, I'm sure I can find the same exact content, the same exact article, not behind a paywall somewhere else. Why should I pay you $50 so you can open up your content? It's a checkbox, lady. You want the students, the K through 12 students, to have access to your newspaper? Why don't you give it to them? Is my brain not working? Do you think I have the brain of a pea? Really? Wow. All right, let's see. There's some comments coming through here. What language do I use to develop in? Actually, I am primarily this hat is hot, by the way, especially in the summer. I am primarily a WordPress expert, so I code in WordPress codecs. In fact, the other day, I managed to get a WordPress widget working on a static website. Sweet. Therefore, some PHP stuff, but primarily I just focus on WordPress UI, UX stuff. Pennies do not exist in Canada anymore. Oh, boy. We don't have pennies anymore. Oh, boy. Let's all pack up and move to Iceland. Nice. Tom's service based on his live streams. Cat treat in the end. I will think I can do that. Hairless cats don't cough up fur balls. Yes, but they're ugly as sin. Will Windows 10s not use third-party programs? The only thing you can get to run in Windows 10s is anything in the Windows 10s store, which is potentially good for security, but extremely bad for anything else. Windows 10s to me is the scariest operating system I've seen in a decade. Windows 10 was bad. Windows 10s is like, this is the first movement to take a desktop computer and put it into a completely blocked paywall. Windows 10s is freaky. I really want to do Let's Encrypt, but eHost wants me to pay $49. Yeah, that's because EIG, eHost, like EIG companies do not support SSLs. Okay, like I have a WHM and I cannot install my own SSLs because EIG bought the company and they're idiots. Tom, solution is send 200 messages back to them. Yeah. Hey, somebody else agrees. Hairless cats are ugly. Yes. Okay, back on the home account. Woohoo! So ugly they're cute. No, so ugly they're ugly. This is worse. They wanted my social security number because their crap credit card form doesn't work. If they can't figure out how to get a credit card form to work, I definitely don't want to give them a social security number. Yeah, I wouldn't go with them. Seeing a suggestion from Kingston saying, is your Windows 10 slow? Didn't make it slow. Windows 10 is already slow. Yep. So then all Windows will be absolutely useless. Yeah, pretty much. Well, what my fear is with Windows 10s is it's going to get to the point where they're going to offer an OEM discount to run with Windows 10s. So like every computer you go to the store and buy is probably going to be Windows 10s. If you want Windows 10 Pro, you can upgrade it. Of course, I think till the end of this year, you can upgrade a 10s to a 10 Pro for free, if I remember correctly. But after this year, it'll be like $50 to upgrade. So then all Windows OS will be absolutely useless. Pretty much. Aren't all Windows OSs already useless? I mean, outside of video games and proprietary software, but you know. Marketing companies will never accept an opt-in system. No, they won't. But they should be forced to, because that's the purpose of the government, is to protect us from the crazy companies around us. Because it goes back to that Wild West scenario where the corporatocracy, where if everything is so much the Wild West, the guy with the biggest gun wins. And the guy with the biggest gun frequently are these big companies. And this is why they're pushing everything into the direction they're pushing everything. You know, and that's kind of the thing. Fill out this malicious application because it's totally free and not a scam. Yeah, I actually, go there, I guess. My home phone died. No. Hopefully they make Intel-based Windows 10s systems. The Piggy Uniform. The Windows, the primary difference between Windows 10s and Windows RT is RT was only an ARM-based processor. Windows 10s is already Intel-based. That's one of the things they've been saying is the problem is Windows RT could only run on ARM. Windows 10s runs on everything. No, yeah, but you have it locked out so it can't do anything. That's the problem. Yes, it can run on Intel. It just... They must think... Windows even thinks our brains are as small as peas, apparently. Yeah, well, I mean, come on. Ryan is experiencing a non-binary moment. See how he had to switch to his other gender. Yeah, so it's all good. It's Octo, yes. Yes, personal phone, then the one's charged. Look like a crab wearing a hat. You do look like a crab wearing a hat. All right, folks. We've been going a little over an hour and a little under an hour and a half, I guess. I think this is probably a good time to wrap up. We hit all of our articles. I'm going to drop all these articles in the description. So I guess if you like what you see and you didn't already know, you can help support on Patreon and also on Amazon. And yes, if I can find a kitty, I will feed the kitty a kitty treat. So I'm just going to go grab the bag of kitty treats, squeeze it around, and a kitty should come running here to the kitty camera. So let me go do that, and I will be back in just 1 second. Oh, I kicked over the kitty cam! The kitty cam got kicked! Here, kitties. Over here. Kitty. Here you go. There you go. All right, guys. Thanks for watching Switch to Linux. And I will chat with you guys later.